Hello. I recently purchased from Evike a CYMA Thompson 1928 model machine gun. This is the one with the forward hand grip, more associated with the gangsters of Prohibition in World War II, where the military M1A1 Thompsons lost the foregrip and made a few other changes. But the price of this was suspiciously low to me. It's $160 for a gun with real metal and entirely real wood. Why was it so cheap? Well, I decided to risk the adage, you get what you pay for, and ordered one. The worst that could happen is that I would end up with a fairly expensive wall decoration. Anyway, this is more of an expository video than a review, since I'm far from being an expert on airsoft, and I haven't had a chance to use this in the field. So I just thought I'd make some general observations. First of all, the bottom line is it was a good purchase. However, I noticed that the gun depicted on the box is slightly different from the gun they actually sent me. As you can see, the gun on the box has this detail here on the stock, and it's not on the actual gun. Also, I find it odd that nowhere on the box do we see the brand name. I wonder why. Also, you'll notice that on the box it's given the epithet Chicago version. Well, I lived in Chicago for a few years, and there are times in which I wish I did have a Thompson machine gun with me. So as for the actual gun itself, I will say that it's nice and heavy. There's discoloration here on the end of it, and that's just from where I removed the orange plug from the muzzle. A little bit of warm water, I can get rid of that residue. Talking about the muzzle, I should point out that it's not threaded. That's fine with me, since I can't see wanting to put a tracer unit on a model gun like this. On the other hand, muzzle flash on a Thompson would be kind of cool. As far as I know, the markings on the gun imitate the markings on an actual Thompson submachine gun. Interesting that they actually have the patents listed on the side. I wonder why that should be. Oh, and there's also a dummy charger on the side. It doesn't seem to do anything, but you know, what's a gangster movie without a gangster saying something like, "Okay, Bugsy, you better start talking." You know, and cocking the gun like that. Yeah, I'll settle this my way. Right. Also, notice this. The instruction booklet describes a slightly different Thompson. Its illustrations depict a hatch for the battery compartment, but on the gun, you see there isn't one on the stock. You have to just unscrew the screw and take off the whole back part of the stock. I put it on the scale, and it weighs a nice 6 pounds. I mean, that's fairly substantial, and imagine running around a whole day with it, especially if you're wearing a suit, tie, and hat, and an extremely unrealistic mustache. Shooting through my trusty chronometer, I see that its actual feet per second is around 380 or so with 20-gram BBs, nowhere near 450. But that's good, not bad, since, as I said, I want to be permitted to shoot this thing in full auto in airsoft matches. The description on the Evike entry, if you go online and look it up, I'll include a link below, is fairly accurate. It rates the gun at about 350 per second. The battery that came with the gun is an 8.4 LiPo. It feels like the battery compartment is large enough so that you could put in all kinds of different batteries if you wanted. I personally prefer slower rates of fire, so I might swap it out for a 7.4. Now, the gun comes with a barrel magazine that holds about 450 BBs. I also ordered a stick magazine made by Matrix that holds about the same number, or so it says. Both magazines work fabulously, I can say that much. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you a useful video of me shooting the gun since there's snow on the ground outside, it's freezing. If I take this thing out in the backyard, the neighbors are likely to call the cops, especially if I look like this. But testing it out at the longest range that I can in my basement, it seems like it's very, very accurate and consistent, not much spread at all. The only thing I can really comment on this $160 wonder is durability, since I've only had this for a couple of days. But that aside, I would say that I'm very pleased with this Thompson, and the price is right. There are plenty of more expensive models out there, some twice as much as this one, but I wonder what I'm getting for my money, or rather what I'm not getting for my money when I get this. So I endorse it. I don't know how many are left on Evike, but get them while they're hot.
All right, Bugsy, go get that machine gun.
I'll never be a convincing gangster.